This video is it's a little more serious than I think I anticipated it to be. So if you're a bit touchy on some subjects like uh, dark thoughts, I'll put it that way to keep it vague, since it's the first couple of seconds of the video. I don't want to get age restricted or demonetized. If you're uncomfortable with talking about super, dark themes and pretty uncomfortable topics, move on. I'm mostly just making this video as a sort of therapeutic ranting, since that seems to be what my channel has devolved into. But yeah, I talk about that pretty soon, so I'm just gonna cut to that. Depression. It is a very odd thing, A lot of people, I feel, have dealt with it. A lot of people, I feel, have also never dealt with it and think they've dealt with it. I've had the unfortunate opportunity of not only having it, but having the will and want to cease being alive. That was a couple of years ago, and a ton of things went into play as to why I'm not that way anymore, and an astronomical amount of, I would call it, luck and self-determination to change also, because it didn't just come out of nowhere. However, even with all of that, I noticed it never went away. It never just ceased. The thoughts will come in just willy-nilly, randomly, just because it can. But a lot of those things that had to go into play to change my mindset and change the way I thought about it have since changed in such a way that I don't even know if they work. You see, when you're that low, to the point where you no longer give a shit about your life or anything that you can do, and you fully anticipate, are trying to, and wanting to give up, you kind of just, you can't fall back into that. Because how do you reach that low of a bottom and understand perfectly how you got there and how to avoid it and how to get out of it and all that jazz? How do you fall back into it? You just kind of can't. I can't. Like I said, I've thought about it before and questioned if I could fall back into it, if I wanted to. I think some part of me may have wanted to, but I can't. It's impossible for me to undo so much progress. And yet, deep down, man, do I want to give up. And this is not a cry for help. I want to make that very clear. It is a rant. We're the most privileged human beings that have ever lived. Just period. We are the most privileged human beings to have ever lived. The fucking kings of ancient Egypt would have worshipped our lives if given the opportunity, because holy shit, we live in such privilege, especially here in America. And what's so fascinating about it is no matter how good someone's life is on the surface, we all end up coming to a very similar conclusion of just, what's the point? What's the purpose? What's the meaning? And if you let those thoughts eat at you, you really just fall down that rabbit hole of there's no point. I feel like that's just part of the problem. With that being said, I have no purpose. I have nothing. I thought my purpose was to share my story with other people and help other people change, but it never went anywhere. I thought my purpose was, I thought it was my ex-girlfriend, who I fully anticipated to marry, who I fully anticipated to lower my standards of life, because it was in favor of a much happier and simple outcome, and I absolutely adored who she was and what she did. And on her end and on my end, we kind of squandered things just because of a million reasons that ultimately just led to having to move on. I thought my purpose was going to be, I lived such a terrible life. So maybe I can share my story with my younger siblings and hope that they don't end up the same way as me, but ultimately that's just not the case. I thought I could go to college, I thought I could work any job and move on, but I can't. I don't get along with some people no matter how hard I try. Even if I ultimately understand exactly why I don't get along with them and everything and understand how to get out of it and whatever, I still end up just kind of not getting along with them, and it ends up leading to not really conflicts but just problems. So as a kid, I was like, oh, I can do anything. No, as an adult, you just can't do anything. Can't do anything you thought you were going to be able to. Things just don't allow you to. And so now I'm stuck without a purpose, without many real friends. I mean, I have friends online, but that's it. With a dead-end job, with no significant other to look forward to put my love and care into, to put my future into. There's just nothing. And so it's become, this channel is my only something. And it's not going to go anywhere. I know it's not. Because no matter how many games I play, no matter what I do, they're not even really fun anymore. I can play a horror game, okay? And I can finish it and play through it, and oh my god, it's a really good fucking game, but I didn't really feel any significant connection to it. I could play another horror game that everyone else has been playing and talking about, and the same thing. It's like, oh, it's really cool, it's really fun, I really enjoyed it, but does it go anywhere? No. I could play a tycoon, like a sandbox game, and they're all fun time killers, but again, it's just ways to occupy my time. A multiplayer game, fucking horror multiplayer game, it doesn't matter. A single player platformer game that I have 1,000 hours in because that's how much I enjoy it and I can play it. And again, all of it's just ways to fill my time. So what's the point? What's the point of sitting down for hours on end, recording, editing, uploading, and creating content for entertainment, even if I do it mostly for myself, because again, it's just a way to occupy my time, and it's decently fun to do sometimes, and it brings enjoyment to other people sometimes. At the end of the day, what's the point? Why should I do that? Why should I spend so long doing something if there's no real outcome to it? Let's say this channel did blow up and it was successful. What would I do then? The same thing? Doesn't seem worth it. What if I branched out and started doing what everyone else does and looking at Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and indulging in these massive communities and arguing with people online and uploading things everywhere so that everyone gets, so I get all the attention, okay? And it helped me blow up, and I get 100,000 subs, 10,000 subs, 1,000,000 subs, whatever. And now I have this dedicated fan base, and I keep growing and I keep doing better and better, and that becomes my job eventually. Okay, that's all hypothetical and all highly improbable, but then what would you do? Cool, now it's my job. I no longer do it for fun. I no longer do it to occupy my time. It is my time. Okay, I plan to go to school in the summer and work. I'm working currently, but I mean to continue working. Great, so I'm going to go to school and learn a bunch of things and do a whole bunch of things so that maybe I can have a better job in the future. And great, that'll occupy a year, 2, 3, 4, 8 years of my life. And then what? And what do you do after that? By the time that even happens, is the world gonna even be here? It's not even gonna be the same. That's for sure. The only reason I haven't done anything is because there's too many reasons not to do it. You see, before, when I was and wanting to not be here, it was very simple. There were more reasons to do it than not to. And now it's just the opposite. There's too many reasons not to do it than there are to do it. And so I end up not doing anything. And instead just live a life of meaningless purpose, floating by, doing a bunch of random bullshit until something happens, and then taking advantage of that, and then moving on. Like, what am I waiting for? Well, I'm either waiting till I meet someone, like I've tried. I'm shooting my shot, I'm not just sitting by, but I'm just waiting for the moment where everything goes right, Then I have someone to care for and look after and have a reason for doing things, but you also gotta have a reason for doing it yourself, I keep making videos, and maybe it does get successful, and then what? I guess that's just what I do. That's my new job. Maybe I go to school, and it ends up being the greatest thing I've ever done. I end up getting a job, but then that's it. Everything just leads to money or partnership. And without either, even with both, I'd like to clarify again. Not that my life has zero meaning. Everyone's life has meaning, and to bring a brighter note on things, everyone has a purpose of their own. It's just trying to find it that's difficult. I don't really know what the point of this is, other than to get my thoughts out of my own head and see if maybe I'm missing something that I need to look into. I think no matter what, my opinion and my thoughts aren't really going to change. I'm still happier than I've been in a very, very, very long time. And I'm still more successful than I've ever been in my life. So in that aspect, it's good, I guess. I don't know. Okay, I'm done ranting. I don't know what this video is for. I know someone would probably say something along the lines of, "Oh, you matter," or, "Oh, you're really good at this, or maybe try this, or maybe go talk to a therapist," and a bunch of other bullshit. Nah. Trust me, I know who I am. I know how everything works, and I've done everything I possibly can to make myself as happy as I possibly can. I have everything I've wanted. Since I was a kid, I have exactly everything I want. I have no more wants. There's a few projects here and there that I'm trying to kickstart and trying to learn, but ultimately I know they're not going to go anywhere. I want to make a song, and I've gotten pretty far into the process. I've learned a lot about music and vocals and things of that sort, and I've even done a few demos just to see how it would sound, and I like it, and it sounds pretty decent. And obviously the more I learn, the better it'll sound, the better it'll become. But at the end of the day, I know it's not going to do anything. I could upload it, publish it, great, it's there, and then I could just be making music all the time or whatever the fuck. But even if that blew up, again, I don't want that kind of fame, I don't want that kind of attention. It's just all things, everything I do is just a way to occupy my time. I could stop doing a lot of things. I could stop doing YouTube. I could stop doing video games. I could stop doing all the things that I'm currently doing to occupy my time. But then what the fuck would I do? Yeah, I could switch it up. Go to the gym. Spend time with family. Even more so. Instead of, the 1/3 of the day that I spend with them, I'll turn it into the only thing I do. Instead of talking to friends online, I'd talk to and meet IRL friends. And again, then what would I do? It's just the same thing. I can't just replace things and then hope that that changes what it is. If I replace friends with different types of friends, nothing changes in that department. Not on my end. It'd just be what I'm doing. What we're doing as a group of individuals. But in my head, nothing changes. Still just hanging out with friends. If I got a partner and had a relationship, at least I could say, okay, I can work and work for a better job and for an overall better purpose for the both of us, for our future. And that was primarily my reasoning for doing half of the things I ever did. But evidently, I still end up at the same conclusion of, well, I'm not doing anything for me. And so it's like, well, what do I want? It's like, well, what I want is to just not be. Like, I'll be honest, if I got diagnosed with something that was terminal, I don't even think I'd be sad about it. Don't get me wrong, I'd be disappointed for sure. It'd be tragic for everyone around me. But I feel like I would not be that disappointed. As terrible as that sounds, it'd be like, well, cool. I now have a limited amount of time. I know that I have a limited amount of time. And so let me do all the things let me check all the boxes off that I need to. And you can say, okay, well, think about life in that manner. Your life is limited, so check off all the things. What I mean by check off the things is like making up with my ex. Actually meeting some of my friends from online to IRL. And giving away any money that I have left. Those would be the things that check off. And then for the rest of that time that I had left, I would just be trying to make sure that my family remembers me the best that I could have been, which they already do. But, if they all knew I was going to be leaving, then, let's make it worthwhile so that when I pass, they have memories to look back on. It's not for me. Again, hypothetical. So, none of that's happening. What's happening right now in the present moment is just... And maybe you guys feel the same way too. Maybe someone else out there feels that way. And maybe they have things that work for them. It ain't gonna work for me. Been there, done that, tried that. Everything you think that could help me, I guarantee I've already done. Hopefully everyone finds their purpose. Hope I find mine.